Hey guys, it's Dexion the Gamer, and I'm back with a second attempt at the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. And I actually did have this recorded before, but I just figured out actually that using Shadowplay to record does not save the actual footage using the NVIDIA statistics overlay. So you weren't able to see latency in my Cyberpunk 2077 video. And basically, I'm not going to do that again. I want you guys to see what I see and not just use Trust Me Bro as a resource, right? All right, so we're in The Witcher 3, and I use this scene here to start my recordings and my findings here. It's really rich with nice vegetation, good lighting, good shading. And so we're going to start and see what we can find out from a baseline. Yep, so we're at 1440p. We're using full screen VSync off. Frame generation is on, so we're actually going to turn that off for now and just get a baseline. For graphics, everything is on the Ultra preset. We are using ray tracing, RTGI, reflections, shadows, AO, DLSS quality, and this is using DLSS 4, the transformer model. So I use DLSS swapper to force DLSS 4 in game, and everything is on except for NVIDIA Hairworks because I don't think that makes much of a difference in quality in the first place for the performance hit that it takes. Alright, so we are at 1440p again, DLSS quality about 87 frames a second with ray tracing on. And you know, just right off the bat, this is a pretty decent frame rate. Now sharpening is set to high because I do think it makes a good difference, especially with textures in the background. You know, walking around, looking at the ground, but it does introduce a little bit of sizzling. So you know, it's to each their own if they wanted to leave that enabled or not. So this is the stock profile with the graphics card here. We're at about 2850 megahertz. 62 Celsius for the temp. VRAM usage is at almost 7 gigs, and that is usage, it's not allocation. Temps are about 64. GPU power is about 300 watts, so that's pretty decent. CPU usage is really low, which is good. This is a 9800 X3D, and this is known for being cool and efficient. Alright, so we're at about 86 to 90 frames a second. Average is 92 frame time. And now I'm going to put on our latency. And we're getting about 26, 27 milliseconds of latency, which in my experience is excellent. There's really no delay from button presses if you can hear the keyboard. Yeah, so you're getting really snazzy performance there. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at 4K DLSS, same settings, and I'll be back in a minute with that. Alright, so now we did switch over to 4K. We're still using the same graphic settings as before, DLSS quality, ray tracing on. Sharpening, we're going to actually set this to low for 4K. There's no need to introduce that sizzling artifact when we're at 4K. Okay, and so what we have now is about 50 frames a second with ray tracing enabled. The image quality is superb. You don't have that sizzling anymore with textures off in the near distance. PC latency did increase up to 40 milliseconds. So here's the tap sound. So it's not really making much of a difference. I still think this is pretty smooth. Yeah, so you guys can hear that, and it's not really doing much difference as far as feeling sluggish or delay with attacks or anything like that. And in game, there is a slight delay anyway in the game engine from when you use the attack. It's not instant. It's not like a shooter, for example. So PC latency is 39, 40 milliseconds, which is great. But let's see if we can do something with that frame rate. And now we're going to go back to 1440p and give it a boost with our overclocking. Okay, and we are back. So right off the bat, for the overclocking, we are getting roughly the same. It's boosting it up a little bit, 92, 93 FPS instead of maybe just touching 90. And we did go up in power consumption up to 320 watts. Core clock's 32 megahertz. Power consumption is a little bit still on the low side as far as what I want to see. Now, I do want you to keep in mind GPU usage probably isn't hitting 99% because we are using OBS to record. I did find out that OBS with the H265 preset is going to be the best bet as far as getting the NVIDIA overlay to show. So we're still at 27 milliseconds as latency. Frame times looking good, 13 milliseconds. Don't pay attention to the average frame rate this time around because it did start with the title screen, so that does skew the numbers. But obviously you can see it's around 90 frames a second. So it didn't really do too much there. So let's go into 4K with these same settings. Okay, and we are back at 4K. And we're getting 57, 58 milliseconds, 54, 53, 52. Same power consumption. Actually, it did jump up now to about 350 watts. And the GPU usage is a little bit more, getting close to that max. Temps are good. Temps on the VRAM is good. We are consuming or using about 8,200 megabytes. 37 milliseconds of latency, so that's really snappy. So now this frame rate is, just touching 60. It's gonna give you an okay experience, but obviously we want to try to get something better than that. So let's see what we can do with frame generation. We're going to start frame gen on 4K, and we're going to see what that does to latency and our frame rate to see if it's smooth but without too much artifact. Alright, so we did just click on frame generation at 4K. Settings all still high. And in this game, I do realize that you don't need to reset the game in order to kick on frame generation, which is a plus. I guess the older version of it was more stable with that. So anyways, we did get that boosted up to 89 frames a second. Looks like it's going up to the 90s, 91, 92. So hey, that's actually what we were getting before with 1440p. Our PC latency is touching 50 milliseconds. So I'm going to do that sound test. Alright, so it is still pretty smooth. I do notice a little bit extra delay, especially with sword strikes and everything, but reflex really does help with that. 40, 48, 49, 50 milliseconds is fine. And again, this is FrameGen 2X DLSS 4 on the Transformer model. VRAM usage did get moved up to 9,700 megabytes. So yeah, I would consider this a win if you were going to be playing this game with a 5080. So let's go back down to 1440p and see what FrameGen also does to those results. Alright, and we are back at 1440p with frame generation enabled. And right off the bat, you can definitely tell that there is a loss of image quality. Again, you can also play with that sharpening slider, but it does introduce sizzling, especially with textures that are a little bit further away from the screen. So we are at 148 frames a second now, 150. So this is absolutely smooth, and latency is 32 milliseconds, as you guys can see. So here's the sound test. All right, so yeah, it's ever so slightly more snappier at 1440p with that increase in the frame rate. Frame time looks super solid. It's just a solid white line. So yeah, this is great at 1440p if you guys are on a 1440p monitor, but you can also use DLSS to jump it up to 4K to get that superb image quality. And at 100 frames a second, 90 frames a second, I think that's a real good compromise as far as image quality and latency and frame rate. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you do like this content, please make sure to like and subscribe for more. I'm going to be trying to introduce more videos every day, if not every other day. And so I look forward to seeing you guys in the future. And so we're just going to switch it back over to 4K and just enjoy some gameplay.
Hey Bart, got a minute?
Minute? But no minute, Scott. But rock, Scott. Rocks want?
I mean a minute to talk.
You mean? But nice.
One more time, can we talk?
Siggy you like. Talk me with.
Thanks for your help. So long.
Long. Long.
That guy needs to see a dentist. Whoa, whoa, what are you doing? You stay your rocky behind right there. Alright, so I know I'm supposed to use an antidote here, but I forget already.